welcome to It's the Economy. You know, the first quarter was known to be a troubled one for microfinance companies since many of them, and the list will come up for you, Fusion, ESAF, Cridag, Bandhan, Equitas, all of them reported, as you can see, higher gross NPAs in Q1 of FY25 compared to Q4. But what has rattled investors is the disclosure made by Fusion just a few days ago, when it said that it will have to raise its provisioning from the originally estimated 350 crore to maybe 500 to 550 crore. Now the buzz in the market is, among the investor community, is probably there are microfinance borrowers out there who have 6, 7, 8, 9 loans from various microfinance institutions. So there seems to have been clear overlending and probably unbridled lending. There have been some safeguards put in by the MFI and the Microfinance Institutions Network, but we will have yet to see the results, because Fusion is giving the impression that second quarter is going to be as bad as the first quarter. Let's ask the experts. Aishwarya Khandelwal, the Associate Director India Ratings, who has put out an excellent report last month, and Mr. Alok Misra, the CEO and Director of Microfinance Institutions Network, the MFIN. Gentlemen, good morning, and thank you very much indeed for joining us. Well, Aishwarya, your report is about a month old, but are you getting a sense that September has been worse? I was under the impression that as the rains come, rural India will actually have more money. But what is the sense you are getting in the last 1 month?
So, yeah, I mean, once the disciplines goes away in this sector, it takes normally 1 or 2 quarters to bring back the discipline. I think so. We have written in the report also it will take another 1 or 2 quarters to bring back the situation. I mean, the collection efficiency is getting back to the normal. Normally, the second half of the year is when the disbursements, 60% of the disbursements takes place. So normally, second half of the year is good quarters for the sector. So mostly fourth quarter when we could see some improvement on the ground. Third quarter, it will start improving, but I think fourth quarter, when we will see the start improvement.
I think I asked you the second question first. Let me ask you the first question. Just detail to our viewers, what is the extent of problem that MFI companies are facing?
Right. So I would start, post-COVID-19, with the implementation of the harmonization guidelines and the removal of the interest rate caps. So there was substantial increase in disbursements by the microfinance companies. So the AUM has grown by 25%, 26%. So what this has led to, the average outstanding per borrower has increased by around 25% over the last 2 years. Plus, there was also increase in the interest rates by the microfinance companies, which has increased by around 250 to 300 basis points. So overall, the debt obligations for the microfinance borrowers has increased by around 30% over the last 2 years. And compared to that, if we use the proxy as wages, it has increased by only around 12.5%. So clearly there is an over leveraging which has happened over the last 2 years, and that we are seeing it now. The heat waves and the elections were just the triggers which has brought this thing up. But I think the things needs to improve now, going forward from the second half of the year.
Got it. So basically overlending, inability to collect during the very hot summer that we had. Some companies even reported high attrition and, as you said, higher interest rates. Mr. Mishra, good morning to you. Thank you for joining us. Well, I think MFIN gave an advisory to your companies to reduce the number of loans per individual, what you called guardrails. Have you seen any improvement? What is the average? It looks like there are 4 or 5 loans at least per borrower.
Okay. Good morning, Lata. And because this is a very important topic, and I think Khandelwal also from India Ratings said a few things. Let me give you a little bit of time. I will put things in perspective and come to your question. If you look at the data, because we are talking about 2 critical things. One is over-lending and over-leveraging. And I think he also referred about interest rates. First, I will just give you numerical data, empirical data. As per the data which we rely on is the Credit Bureau. As per the Credit Bureau data, at the end of June 2024, 84% of clients had two or less than two lenders. So what I'm trying to say here is that the problem which is being made out to be that everybody has 5 loans, 5 lenders, 6 lenders, 7 lenders is not true. Nearly 5% borrowers are 5 to 7% borrowers are there who have more than 4 lenders. And there, the ticket sizes also, if more lenders are there, will be more. So the outstanding will be more. So we saw that in some cases, such cases, there can be a problem. So we introduced the guardrails in July. So the point what I'm making here is that the thing which was being talked about is that the phenomena of 6, 7, 8 lenders is widespread is not so. That can be verified from credit information companies' database, easily available. Second thing I think we talked about was that the average loan outstanding per borrower, which is average outstanding, credit outstanding of microfinance loans per borrower has grown very high in last 3 years. I would give you the figures from in March 20, it was 39,353. As of March 24, it has gone to 55,260, which is the CAGR of 8.8%. If you discount the inflation numbers, the real growth would not be too much. And the third point he made was about interest rates. Yes, interest rates have moved up 150 basis points to 175 basis points because of the reasons which I have earlier told about it. But let me tell you that if I take a 20,000 rupees loan and at 24%, at 22% and at 20%, in 4%, the EMI difference works out to be 99 rupees. So that is not much of an issue. There are other factors behind
Mr. Mishra, 1 minute. Your numbers, let me confront you with other numbers that we are getting.
Yeah, please.
If you looked at the MFI numbers, look at their GNPA, look at their gross NPAs in the first quarter. All of them have reported 2 to 3 percentage points more, not 20, 30 basis points. 2 to 3 percentage points more. Look at Fusion MFI. From 2.89, the bad loans have gone to 5.5%. ESAF again from 4.7% has gone to 6.6%. Equitas SFB 2.6 to 2.73. And even Bandhan, which is one of the scheduled commercial banks with a large proportion of, microfinance loans, there is a good 40. None of the other banks have shown this kind of increase. So, you are giving me an average number of, loans per borrower. But as Aishwarya's report points out, it is not evenly distributed. There are a large number of loans given in UP and Bihar, where the per capita income is not growing at the same pace that it is growing in Tamil Nadu, where you can give the same 49,000 or 50,000 rupees outstanding per borrower. But per capita income is much higher in Tamil Nadu. It is not that way in Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. So, the numbers are saying that there is a problem.
Yeah, I will. So, you talked about the GNPA numbers, the portfolio at risk numbers. And let me say that even on industry-wide, if we track the portfolio at risk 1 to 180 days, from March to July, the last figures are from July, it has gone up by 140 basis points. I admit that. But what I'm trying to say, Lata, is that it is not that we don't feel that the portfolio quality should not come back to the earlier levels. But what I'm saying is that the diagnosis should not be simplistic. There are a host of factors. Like you said about heat wave, that was one factor in May and June. But post that, we have been having other factors also. Like, for example, I would say in many parts of India, there is a movement which goes in various variants, which is asking and inciting borrowers not to repay. I would also not deny that in some pockets, maybe in some districts, there might be over-lending. So there are a host of factors. We cannot simplify to that there was an oversupply and in all over India, and that is why the NPA has gone up. We have to look at place by place.
I take that. Of course, there are a whole host of reasons. What I'm now trying to find out is the end game. There is one brokerage report which is worrying after looking at the Fusion disclosure that the NPAs over there are looking higher than peak COVID times. So let me come to that question. Where is the end game? Aishwarya, when do you see it declining? And how? Will it only be when the promoters put in more capital? Is there any other way it will get solved?
So as of now, I mean, the large NBFC MFIs, I think, are adequately capitalized. Most of them are operating at around 3.5 times of leverage. I think the more challenging situation will be for the small and mid MFIs. The funding availability for them would be a challenge from now on, because I mean, the lenders will be cautious in lending to them. So I think the growth levels of the overall industry will come down to around 15% in the current year, and credit cost for the overall year we expect to for the full year expect to increase to around 4.5% for the full year. So I think from the fourth quarter onwards, I think situations will start improving. Yeah.
Yeah, we do have a very good harvest. It's a La Nina year, so hopefully that should alleviate. Mr. Mishra, Dr. Mishra, what's your sense? Have you been in? Has RBI reached out to you? How do you see who is bringing the extra capital, and when do you think the wheel can turn?
I think that what we see is that if I look at, because September I don't have data, hardcore data, but field reports are coming. So the picture is mixed in September. Some people say they see improvement. Some say it has stabilized. Some say it has gone similar to August. But what the field situation is saying, that with the implementation of guardrails which we have put in, the lower disbursements, I think our sense is by November, you will see good stability. December will stabilize, and in Q4, you will see that we should be back to normal, because the harvest is normal. It is good, as you rightly said. The discipline is returning back, and we are taking some additional measures to strengthen processes. That should help us back. On capital side, I think, as Asura was telling, the top players who control 90% of market are well capitalized. They have around 25% capital adequacy. That I don't see much of a challenge.
Okay. Just a very quick one sentence, sir. How do you control people from giving the 5th, 6th and 7th loan? Yeah.
So see, that as you said earlier, when we introduced the guardrails, it is not an advisory. It is from the SRO, the members who are our members. It is a directive. And we check the quarterly disbursements made during the quarter from the credit bureau for every company. And if we see violations, we will take the enforcement action as per our charter.
All right. That's good to hear, sir. And anyway, fourth quarter is not that far away. Thank you very much, Aishwarya and Dr. Mishra, for throwing more light on this budding problem. One hopes that it is not more than a couple of quarters away in terms of solution. Wrap up on Bazaar. Chart Past is coming.